What's up, everyone? Technically Leonard here. So, I wanted to share a true ghost story, if you will, that happened to me and some family members back in the early 2000s period. Yeah, long ago now. But anyway, this particular incident happened when we rented a large, and I emphasize large, log cabin for a large group of us. The cabin was reported to accommodate up to 50 adults. We probably had somewhere around 40, I would say, plus several kids. So, I mean, we were close to capacity. This place was huge. It was abnormally spacious. The doors were huge. It didn't even look like a normal home. It looked like some kind of institution almost. And when we arrived, we immediately began noticing things that were unusual. For one, the place was not locked. The door was just standing open. The so called owner later explained that this was because there was literally no one in the area. I should say this was up on Beach Mountain, a short distance from Boone, North Carolina. I won't give out any more specifics as to the location because A, I don't believe the place is there now, and B, I think it was torn down or heavily renovated or whatever. But B, I don't want to, tons of people like go into this place to see a haunted place that's not there anymore. But anyway, so he told us that the reason the doors and stuff were not locked, he didn't bother, was because of the location. There was literally very few people at the time around this area, so he said, claimed it was quite safe. And anyway, we went in and looked around. The place was very nice. It was very rustic, luxurious. Stainless steel appliances on the main floor in the kitchen, the big kitchen. Everything was fairly clean. The place also had a second kitchen downstairs with a second like family room slash game room. It had a huge family room upstairs with like windows looking out with a view of Grandfather Mountain. It was beautiful, a beautiful place. But the first thing that kind of struck us as unusual was that the owner, when he came to get the papers signed, he would not go beyond the kitchen on the main floor. He acted as though he didn't want to go beyond the kitchen. So, anyway, he sat down at the kitchen tables, and I say tables because it was two long, very long folding tables, is what it was, in the kitchen area. And he got the paper signed. He told us the rules and stuff. He told us if anything was moved, it needed to be put back where it was before we left, exactly where it was. If any furniture was moved, it needed to be put back exactly where it was before we left, etc., etc. He explained not to use the AC. He claimed because of where it was, it stayed cool enough all the time. Didn't need to. Later on, these things would kind of be obviously suspicious to us, but at the time, I don't think any of us thought that much about it. It was just such a nice place. And keep in mind, I mean, we're talking about a place, yeah, it was a large group of us, but we're talking about a place at this time in the early 2000s, we paid pretty much $1,400 for 2 nights. So, I mean, serious money, $700 a night for this place. The place had 10 large bedrooms. Most of the bedrooms had either 2 to 3 beds, large beds in them. The place had 6 and 1/2 bathrooms. It was huge. I mean, it was split up across two floors. The bottom was like a finished kind of basement area with rooms surrounding it, off of it. The top, there was rooms kind of scattered all around the area. And I mean, it was a huge home. It didn't even look like a home. It looks like I said, like some kind of institution. So anyway, he began to explain to us that the reason for the large doors, etc., was because this house, he claimed, was built by an artist who was in an iron lung when she lived in North Carolina, an artist named Ann Adams. Well, we would later discover that there's very little mention of Ann Adams ever living in North Carolina outside of possibly being in an institution, slash, if you will, sanitarium. You know, Probably some serious health conditions were the reason she was here in North Carolina. But anyway, um, so he explained that the reason the doors were so huge is because they had to move her around in the iron lung around the house, people helping her. But the thing that immediately rang out to me and did not make sense was, half the house was downstairs and down a fairly narrow, one of the most narrow points in the house was the stairway going down to the lower level. I mean, it was maybe 32 inches wide, the stairway. I mean, it was not a large stairway going down there at all. But anyway, so we got everything settled in. Everything on the lower level of the house was also constantly damp, even wet, I would say. Right down to the nightstands and stuff. I mean, you would wake up in the morning and there would be puddled water standing on the nightstand. It didn't seem to affect the nightstand. That was what was odd. But it would literally be kind of water puddled on the nightstands, and the beds were constantly wet. They didn't dry out from body heat. They were constantly damp. Anyway, we checked in. We got everything settled in. The first night went fairly well. Everybody just kind of hung out. It rained a lot while we were there, but that wasn't a problem. So anyway, the second day we had an outing planned, and everyone got up, got ready. There was, it didn't take long because there's lots of bathrooms and stuff in the house. We got ready, everyone loaded up, we took off. Didn't think a lot about it. We came back that afternoon and started, gathering up and just hanging out, trying to enjoy the evening. Well, a large group from our group kind of hung out upstairs, and they were into kind of, singing gospel hymns and stuff. So they hung out up in the upstairs main floor living area. I mean, the main floor living area. Let me kind of describe this really quickly. It was a huge space. It was probably, I'd say, 24 feet by about maybe 35 feet. I mean, it was huge. It was a huge area for just a single open room for the upstairs living area. So they all hung out up there and singing and talking and stuff, and no one, had any problems until all of them I went downstairs and was kind of laying on the bed listening to some music at the time. I was really into MP3, so I had my MP3 player. I'm laying down on the bed chilling on the lower floor, and anyway, about 2 o'clock, everyone kind of starts to. I'm sorry, about midnight, everyone kind of starts to turn in, get tired, and go to bed. Well, I went to sleep. I mean, I slept the best I've ever slept those couple of hours. About 2 a.m., 2:30, somewhere in there. I woke up to a number of people from our group downstairs in the room telling me and others that were in the same room that something had gone on, something mysterious, and everyone was upstairs. Everyone was scared. Everyone was upset. Apparently, they said one lady in our group had her husband's razor that he had plugged in charging had literally flown across the room and hit her in the leg, and just another person that had medication with them. We later found out they said that they had found their pills kind of laid out in a ladder pattern on their bed, and just a lot of mysterious, strange claims, at least, going on. Disclaimer, I never experienced anything other than one thing before we left, and I'll get to that later because I haven't got to that point yet. But I didn't experience barely any of it. This was all hearsay for me. But anyway, so I'm kind of groggy, and I'm like, oh man, do I have to? And anyway, they really wanted everyone to go upstairs and gather in the living room, and we got up there, and everyone was scared. I had family members that were literally sick to their stomach from being so scared, and it was just a time, some of them who believed in prayer were praying. And anyway, it was a stormy night. It was very bad weather. We were high up on the mountain. This place was 4,500 feet in elevation up on Beech Mountain in western North Carolina. So, yep, some very curvy, windy roads. It isn't exactly the kind of place that you leave when you don't know the area in bad weather and kind of take off and leave in the middle of the night. So anyway, we kind of sat around upstairs, everybody talking, trying to get calmed down. Um, I will say there was some of the doors to some of the rooms off of the main living area did appear to move somewhat, but that can happen in older homes simply from pressure changes and due to temperature and stuff. Not necessarily. Some people thought it was, ghost related. I don't think so, but anyway, we kind of hung out up there until daylight. When it became daylight, everyone decided that we were going to leave pretty quickly. So everyone began to get their stuff together and get cleaned up and get ready for the drive home, get their showers. We all did that around 8:30 that morning. We were all pretty much getting ready to leave, and this is when I noticed what I noticed. The door to the room where I had slept, yet again, another very large door downstairs, but it had the kind of door handles on it, not doorknobs, but the kind of door handles that are like for arthritis and stuff, where it's kind of the lever style handle. And when we got there, everything was fine with the door. The door handle was secure and everything. When we left, honestly, this I did notice. The door handle on that room was about to fall off of the door. So I did find that a bit suspicious. But anyway, we left, we got home, and we talked to another group of people. And it turns out another group from just down the street from where we live had gone at an earlier time and experienced similar things. So, I mean, I don't know. People in our group said that they heard knocking on the doors. They heard like someone trying to knock the door open, and several times the doors open. My sister and brother-in-law and my niece were in another room downstairs. They said they constantly smelled a paint smell. Keep in mind, Ann Adams, the lady in the iron lung, supposedly that we'd been told the story about, was said to be a painter, and she painted with oil paint, we were told. So, I don't know, but they said you could constantly smell oil paint in there. They said at one point they actually saw a snakeskin coming out of a crack in one of the walls in their room. I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't experience enough myself to say a lot about it, but there was a lot of stories. We also, I should say, keep in mind, this is in the very early days of digital photography, so digital cameras weren't that great anyway. But a lot of us did take pictures, a number of pictures. I don't have them available now. This has been a long time ago. But there were a number of what we would later discover are known as orbs in the ghost hunting kind of genre, that showed up all over the pictures. Some people in some of the pictures you could actually see through. You could see things behind them. It was very unusual. It was a very strange place. I'm still not going to say I 100% believe in ghosts, but I will say that, you know, it's an experience I will never forget. And like I said, I didn't experience anywhere about as much as a lot of people in our group. But anyway, this is my ghost story. I wanted to share. Everyone, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I apologize for the rambling explanation. I'm not a professional public speaker, and I'll be the first to admit that. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And everyone, be safe, be kind, and have a happy Halloween.